So Destiny 2 recently added the Master Vault of Glass difficulty, and I decided to give it a try with a team of friends, and it's safe to say I don't like it, and a decent amount of people also don't like it. There are people who do like it, and I'm not taking that away from you, but I want to share my thoughts on exactly how I feel about this mode, and when it comes to how they could make it better, in my opinion. But if you are somebody who does enjoy it, and to be honest, even wants it more challenging, this is not a video trying to take that away from you either. I hope that you stay in this video to hear me out as well on what I have for options when it comes to this kind of content going forward. But for starters, I just want to share my thoughts on exactly how I felt about this. So for any of you who doesn't know, Master Vault of Glass is another tier of difficulty of the Vault of Glass where there's modifiers, like in this week there's more champions, there's match game, there's airborne where basically anything that floats does more damage. So basically Atheon's checkpoint is going to be very difficult because of the amount of harpies that are in the air doing more damage. And on top of this, there is also a technical artificial difficulty of contest mode, basically where your light level is hindered because the activity is 1350, not 1340 when it comes to a master level difficulty activity, which is weird because everything else that's master is 1340, but Vault of Glass is the first one to be 1350, which is kind of scummy because it's promoting you to more Alliance focus XP farming more than actually your pinnacle grind, which is weird because I thought we were trying to get away from bounty farming. But anyways, basically the pinnacle cap on your gear is 1320. Your artifact, the pretty much the equal ground of where you're grinding, you'll hit at plus 20. If you're somebody that's playing a decent amount of Destiny, doing your milestones and getting up your pinnacle gear level, it'll be around plus 20. So 1340 is definitely something acquirable for most players who play a lot of Destiny. I'm not justifying that XP should be a main focus, and that should be the thing that they should do all the time, but it was something doable. 1350, not very doable, so you're going to probably be 10 levels below or lower, and that's essentially kind of like a contest mode where enemies will do more damage to you, and you'll do less damage to enemies. But not only this, but every encounter also adds a whole mess more of enemies, whether they have more shields, but they will also add more enemies. Like, it's not just shields, it's also enemies. There's a lot of stuff to take in when you go into the Master Vogue. But here's the thing. It is very, very difficult for majority of players that just even do Grandmasters on the daily. It is honestly so challenging to the point where it makes no sense on the loot on why it's so stingy. I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's definitely doable. It just may take some teams a lot longer. I know there's some people out there who probably will tell me, well, it was easy with my team. That's great. Not everybody can do what you do, and your team was probably maybe the 1% of the Destiny community or lower who could definitely go through a contest mode world's first. That's not everybody. And trying to cut off players from getting adepts inside of PvE because you're not in that category is pretty bad, and I don't think that's a good mindset. I do think that they should make things challenging for you as well, though. I'm not saying that they should take that away. People have been asking for a permanent contest mode that you can choose from where you will get more rewards and maybe even exclusive cosmetics and such. I think that's a great idea, and that's something that I've talked about, and I'll talk about that in this video. But here's where I'm mainly annoyed. It's artificial difficulty. I remember Destiny 1 hard modes where they would add mechanics. Like Taken King did this, Vault of Glass did this, everything has done this where the hard mode was a version of the normal mode raid, but with an added mechanic that you had to look out for. And that was something that was very doable for everybody once you understood what you were doing. When it comes to Master Vault of Glass of Destiny 2, it's just artificial difficulty where enemies do more damage to you and you do less damage to enemies with also all these random modifiers to deal with. to be honest, I'm not even going to complain about the modifiers. I'm not even going to complain about the more enemies, because honestly, I want there to be more enemies. I love that about, like, the Sepix Prime Strike. There's so many enemies, you never feel like you're bored or fighting for trying to take out enemies. So having more enemies, great. Having champions, sure, go ahead. But where I am annoyed is, like I said, the artificial difficulty of the contest mode. Technically, you could bypass it if you get your artifact to plus 30, but yeah, I'm not going to go farm moon bounties for weeks. No, thank you. 24 hours a day. No, thank you. Sorry, but no. So that's like where my main complaint is. I'm not saying that I want this to be super easy. By all means, I want the game to have some kind of challenge, but I want it to be fun as well. Most people don't find this fun, and if you do find it fun, that's great. I'm giving you a thumbs up. Can't see it, but I'm giving you a thumbs up. I'm being serious. That's great. I'm glad that you find something enjoyable. Don't want to take that away from you. But for me and a decent amount of other people don't find this fun. It's very tedious. It's not rewarding enough for the amount of tediousness. And not only that, even for the adepts, it makes no sense. Why is it the only way to get the adepts is to do the challenge? And sometimes those challenges will be either in the beginning of the raid or the very end or whatever. Most people will probably honestly just take checkpoints, do the challenge, and call it a day. And that's it. But, I mean, you have to get there too if you don't take a checkpoint from somebody else. So people honestly just do like the challenges and on checkpoints, and that's it. And honestly, the challenges are difficult. You know, some of them more difficult than others, and some of them actually easier, like Templar, trying the one-phase Templar, which most people do all the time. It wasn't really a challenge. It was something that everybody wanted to do instead of doing 2 phases or more. But the thing is just doing the regular encounters on Master Vault of Glass is difficult. So why not have adepts drop all the time? Like, that's kind of how I was going to see it, was they were going to have adepts drop for each encounter, but it wasn't going to be a set weapon. It was going to be random, like, or tied to the encounters like it was with normal. But it doesn't work like that, which it's okay, whatever. The cool thing, though, is that once you unlock the weapon, you could purchase it through the Spoils of Conquest, which is great. But this is the other thing that was really confusing, is why are we not also getting double Spoils of Conquest? You still get 5 per encounter. Why not 10? Or 15? Or how about 20 for how much difficulty this is compared to normal? Just saying. But, again, it's how this feels is almost like Bungie kind of taking a personal attack of people calling their content way too easy. And I do look back at Spire of Stars where there were people, Bungie-wise, that were kind of poking fun, and they had every right to do so because people were calling their content way too easy. But they were tweeting out saying, "We're listening, and we heard that you thought our content was too hard." But the only reason why Spire of Stars was mainly difficult was because we couldn't do that much damage. We also took more damage because of contest mode. It doesn't really make it challenging when you hinder all this stuff where you're forced to use the most meta or cheesy loadouts to ensure that you're doing much of anything. I don't like that. I would like to have fun with builds, mess with things, not feel like, man, I was stupid to not have the most meta top tier DPS thing, whatever it may be, at all times, and the same mods or whatever. But that's just me. Like, I'm saying also to not take that away from you if you do like that. So this is where I'm saying that this would be probably a better idea. Why not separate difficulties and have more incentives as well? Fine, if you want adepts to be rare, that's okay. But at the same time, don't make the experience way too difficult when you also have RNG on the rolls, so you're not guaranteed to get the weapon you want. Also, only have one of the adepts be per week, so lessening that as well on when it will come back. And on top of this, you can only get it through the challenge mode. I don't get that. It's just like trials when you go flawless. I went through 50 Eye of Souls and never got Snapshot Vorpal, which is the one I wanted. And you know what's really scummy is that was through tokens and getting it through the card, not the flawless Adept one. I never ever wanted to try and get the Adept one, because if I went through 50 Eye of Souls, me trying to go flawless 50 times and be disappointed with that many hours going flawless and dealing with trials would have not been something I would find enjoyable at all if I was not getting the role I wanted. But on top of this, that makes it very annoying that I missed out on grinding more than 50 Eye of Souls. They removed the Snapshot Vorpal combination of Eye of Soul of the newer version. Why do you do this, Bungie? Why? You might as well remove the Snapshot Vorpal combination from the old ones, but they're still there. But sadly, Destiny 2 kind of seems to run into this problem a decent amount, where the amount of time and investment in the mode/activity doesn't equal the reward value. And same thing with the amount of challenge. It just does not equal the amount of reward value to the intensity of challenge. Master Vault of Glass runs into this. It's just too tedious. It's not really that fun. There's a lot of time and investment in the mode that just doesn't make it worth your grind for the rewards. And I think that Bungie could definitely do better on this case. So what is my answer? And this goes for everybody, for people who find it too difficult, or too easy, or just right. Options. Options. And they all correlate to the one thing that Bungie needs to do well on. Time and investment, challenge, and the reward doing well with making sure everything is leveled. Let's start with Master Vault of Glass. Master Vault of Glass would be still the way that it kind of is, but remove the contest mode. Do not have the whole light level disadvantage thing that they have right now, where you're 1340 and they have 1350 enemies kind of deal. Maybe they could even tone down a little bit on the modifiers, but still keep the amount of champions and also the amount of ads that they throw at you in Master Vault of Glass. But again, you wouldn't have that artificial difficulty of the contest mode where you're at a disadvantage on your light level. Now, for those of you who want more of a challenge, how about a optional contest mode? This would be like the nightmare mode of most games that you see out there. This one would be a lot more challenging. There would be more modifiers, the ones that we see with Master Vault of Glass right now, but there would actually be a contest mode where your light level is hindered no matter where you're at. But here's the thing. Why would you do that? Loot incentives. Master Vault of Glass and optional contest mode as well. I think that, first of all, I think both of them should have all challenges active. As in, if you want to do all the challenges in the Master Vault of Glass or contest mode, you have that option. And not only that, but if you do all the challenges from start to finish, you get more adepts. But you're guaranteed to get an adept every time you complete a challenge for each encounter. I think that would be a great idea. They can still do the whole, it's this weapon for this week, or it's this weapon for this week. You know, they could still do that, but you still have all the challenges. Because I honestly find it silly that it's like, well, you can only get the adept at the challenge that it is for this week. Because most people will probably just do the checkpoint of where it's at and go from there. As in, people will be sharing checkpoints more than actually just going start to finish when it comes to the raid, because of how challenging it is. But even if they remove the challenge, it's still kind of silly. So that option would be great. And like I said, if you do all the challenges, you get more loot at the very end as well. I think that would be a great idea. Maybe also have more conquest, the spoils of conquest dropping in the higher difficulties. That'd be great, because it's disappointing that you still get 5 per encounter, which makes no sense. But anyways, then there's contest mode where you get more loot. Just take what the Master Vault of Glass has and times it by 2 or more or whatever. I know that some people may think that would be unfair. Is it? I mean, the amount of time and investment and challenge that you're going through would do very well to equal the amount of reward for those players. And you shouldn't be punishing people for being good at the game and wanting to do something challenging. And they shouldn't be like, well, let's make sure that they have equal loot to somebody who's doing less work in the Master Vault of Glass. That would make no sense either, and that would be kind of unfair. But there would be no exclusivity kind of thing. Maybe the only thing that they could get that's exclusive is more cosmetic. Ships, sparrows, emotes, or whatever. If you beat contest mode Vault of Glass, the very, very difficult one, it would be there as an option that you can do. But Master Vault of Glass would always be there. But you'd still feel like you're being showered with loot. It's not going to be super duper easy. Again, I think that most people don't understand that not everybody has the sweaty LFG team that they found or the sweaty PvE team that they've been around all the time, and don't understand that there are people that genuinely play and know how to play, but do find things way, way too difficult. And sadly, people will go, huh? How do you find this difficult? I find it easy with my team. I'm not saying that things should be handed out to people. It still would be difficult for players. But incentives would be the loot. If you want to do something more difficult, you can. And you will also get more loot. If you don't want to deal with that, you still have Master Vault of Glass and you can still get a lot of loot. But you have to still do the challenges with all these other extra things to make it more difficult. No more artificial difficulties, Bungie. I'm getting tired of it. What's the point of grinding my light level if I'm just going to always be told, you're going to be low light level, you're going to be low power or whatever? It's not enjoyable. And honestly, it's hilarious that if I'm 2 levels below an enemy, they do more damage and I do less damage. But if I'm 10 levels above them, nah, I don't get any benefit. It just makes no sense. It doesn't. So, bottom line is, I think that would be a great idea, is options. I don't understand why we're so split in this community. I'm not looking at one extreme or the other. I'm looking at equal grounds, and that's what I'm trying to do. If it was me, if I were to just be like, yep, a sweaty tryhard, whatever, I'll go play with the sweaty tryhards all the time, whatever. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to feel like others have to deal with that too, where they have to feel like they have to really sweat inside of the mode just to get one adept. I think that's ridiculous. But Destiny should be more about fun and also options on what you're trying to do. I just think that would be a great idea. If you agree with me, feel free to like this video, feel free to subscribe. I plan on doing more Chibi Hours, giving my thoughts on many different things. I would like to see your feedback on as well. If you disagree, and even if you agree, I would like to know your reasons why. Maybe you can share the video out there and kind of, I don't know if you, like I said, if you agree, hopefully Bungie will change this, because right now I'm very disappointed. I'm tired of the whole, let's make things way too difficult so then 0.1% of the community that does raids will actually want to do it. It's just, I don't like that mindset, but at the same time, having a 0.1% of the community wanting to do something because it's optional would be great too. Like I said, the contest mode. Be something to gloat to your friends with. I don't know, but that's my thoughts. Regardless, I hope you have a chibi-tastic day, night, evening, wherever you are. And thank you so much for listening. Chibi out.